Hello, welcome to the Supply Chain Academic Sunday, so I apologise for my relaxed attire and my t-shirt. I've been sat here over the past couple of days thinking about logistics and innovation. Yeah, logistics and innovation. I know it's a dodgy subject. It's quite often an area that's talked about predominantly in the terms of why isn't there more innovation in logistics? Excuse me. So this got me thinking about a couple of examples. I'm going to use an example this morning in Northamptonshire of a new rail freight terminal that is proposed to be constructed in the next 8 years. Now, I want to make it absolutely clear at this point that I'm not in the for or against camp, and I am remaining completely neutral. However, what we have seen at recent meetings is a propensity for people to be in the no camp. This is without any clear understanding of the detail that's going to go into this site. So you can see here, excuse me, sorry, on the screen, this red area here. Now, this is the proposed site for the terminal. And there are a couple of, there's a main rail line here that comes up from London, then it splits here, and then this rail line goes to Northampton, and this rail line goes up to Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, basically the north. So what we have effectively is an interchange between two rail lines, and let's not forget that Northampton itself, or Northampton, shall I say, Shire, employs twice the amount of logistics people than in the rest of the country. So effectively that makes this place the hub of activity. So why don't we see more innovative logistics? Well, predominantly or possibly because we struggle with this infrastructure. We've talked for a long time about infrastructure and logistics and how that's a bit of a challenge. I mean, over that way there is Felixstowe Port, ports of Liverpool, ports of Southampton down that way, London Gateway, the new port down the road. Now, in and amongst all of that, you have this sort of centre of logistics in here, we'll call that, but none of it's connected. So the rail line to the east has got poor connectivity. We had stories of trains that have to come from Felixstowe, which is an hour and a half to the east, having to go south into London to come back up. So overall, we have this mishmash of infrastructure challenges within logistics that need resolving. So these people have come up with this idea of creating this site being here, and inside this site they want to have various things. So they want to have some stuff inside here, so it's coloured in. They want to have lots of e-fulfillment businesses in there. And when HS2 come along, this will release capacity on this line here, this high-speed line, for more freight trains to come in. Outside of that, they will still run high-speed lines here that will go down to London here. And the idea being is that these trains will stop here, somewhere here. They will load up with picked orders that are done inside the e-fulfillment centres, and they'll make this way down to London, which is roughly a 50-minute train ride. Now, conversely, what you could have is you could be backhauling. So when the trains are coming back up towards Manchester, so you could have you could also serve the cities of Manchester, you could serve Liverpool, and you could also serve Birmingham. And if we think about those three plus London, that's quite an amount of demographic that you have to serve there. So why do they want to do this? Well, it's innovation in logistics. So they want to use existing infrastructure. Let's forget for 1 second about the buildings, okay? Because buildings go up all the time and come down all the time. But they want to use the existing rail infrastructure to take trucks off the road. And if we think about the current movement in terms of e-fulfillment, so let's think about people. Human beings are very greedy animals. We spend months and months agonising over whether to buy the next mobile phone, and when we decide that we do want to buy that, we have to have it delivered to us within an hour. So a few business models have come up. The most notable ones are the Amazon same-day delivery models, and Argos have now got onto this, and it's a matter of time before other e-retailers follow suit. So this is what this logistics infrastructure is to do, is to fit that market and the changing needs of consumers. So orders are pick-packed, they're put onto the existing logistics infrastructure, onto rail. That'll give some revenue to the rail companies. And actually, if we think about this, if they're overnight orders, we're running the trains anyway with very, very little load fill in terms of passengers. It's just run as a service. So they could be taking deliveries in the evening into these centres and areas of large demographic. Why? Well, it reduces trucks, and I'm not sitting there in the Boris Johnson camp saying let's remove all trucks from the road, but it reduces trucks for every one of these deliveries going into London to meet in same day or within hour deliveries. It's incredibly inefficient. You're doing lots and lots of vehicle movements with very few packages on board, and it's this last mile delivery that is the most expensive part of logistics, and it's this piece that actually needs disruptively innovating, and this is what these guys are doing here, disruptively innovating. So we've got the packages into London. We could then do some sort of wonderfully gizmitic thing with electric vehicles, robotic vehicles, drones, or something like that. And that's a subject for another time. But why is this innovation of this site so important? Well, actually, if we have a site here, one e-fulfillment centre that covers these people here in London and these demographics in Manchester, Liverpool and Birmingham, what we all of a sudden have is one pile of inventory. And as we know, inventory in small pots around regions are incredibly risky, fraught with problems of theft, obsolescence, and they're very hard to manage in terms of forecasting and demand planning. So this innovative solution of a central warehousing that will create e-fulfillment centres that can serve large demographics, take vehicles off the road, which reduces carbon footprint, makes things more efficient. I mean, we all know about the logistics inefficiency, where currently line haul is only operating at 60% capacity or efficiency, depending which way you look at it. This would go to help that because we're centralising, we're coming into industrial symbiosis potentially. And when we look at circular economy, these central logistics clusters make sense. However, there is a lot of work in the background. There's also people that are against this, because clearly in these areas you've got some lovely little villages that are potentially going to be affected by this. So innovation comes at a cost, I suppose, is what I'm saying here. I'm not suggesting for one second that this site here is the right location for it. You've got the triangulation with the different rail lines coming together there. Arguably, you could say actually, you know what, you'd be better off moving it down the road to Milton Keynes. It's 20 minutes by rail. Is that going to make a difference hitting the demographics of Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool? Potentially yes, because you're not going to do same day delivery, you're not going to do in the hour delivery. But for London, it would actually enhance the service. So London and the south. So actually moving, you might go for a strategy and say actually the innovation of logistics and within the hour delivery is something like a centre down in Milton Keynes, and with Crossrail that could actually serve the south coast areas such as Southampton, Portsmouth, Brighton, Kent and London. And then you can move up towards, and I hate to use this term, but the government use it, that northern powerhouse, and you can have another site up towards the end of HS2, HS3, around sort of Manchester, Liverpool areas that are covering Leeds, Leeds, Bradford, Sheffield, Manchester, Liverpool and Birmingham. So you almost have these two super centres that are using existing rail infrastructure, using this business model. So again, this isn't to say that the Northampton model is right or wrong. It's just an example of current logistics innovation and what is going on out there. But I suppose the thing to take away from this is the fact that although this is an innovative piece of logistics, there is a lot of people in the no camp that are pushing hard against this. And it does strike me that every time logistics comes up with something innovative, somebody always pushes it back. Yet those same people that will complain about it and say they don't want more infrastructure, they don't want more warehouses, will be exactly the same people that toddle off down to Waitrose, or there are other supermarkets available, expect full shelves, have their deliveries to their house the same day, be able to pick inventory as and when they choose, but they don't want the infrastructure to support it. So anyway, that's enough rambling for me on a Sunday. Yeah, it's something to think about, I suppose, in terms of logistics innovation. How do we create more innovation in logistics? It's badly needed, because all we're doing is the same old stuff and repurposing potentially what bad looks like. Innovate the last mile delivery. Come on, I dare you.